get there and then be like, oh shit, fuck this, I don't want to do this, try to come back home. And it seems like Mr. Trudeau is just like, I'll Google this up to myself and look for it, but it's like this. I saw this dialogue in the House of Parliament. It was just is like the Conservative guy was just asking Trudeau, leader of the Conservative Party.
Oh, Scheer?
Yeah, and he was just asking Trudeau like a real question about this kind of thing. And I'll find the dialogue here in a minute. But Trudeau basically just would not budge about. He was saying stuff like any kind of allegation against Islamic people, or even these Canadians who went to fight against Canada. It was like he just labels all of it as Islamophobia and all this thing, and it's like, dude, like you can't just. You're being an idealist, and you're just holding on to like an idea and trying to a fault. To a fault, you're trying to apply like one absolute rule to every situation that you find yourself in involving the subject, and that's not right. You're not like present and awake and conscious with the problem with the real question being asked. And it's like you just hear the buzzword Islam. It's just like you can't be an Islamophobia. And it's like, what if these radicals actually do mean harm? You can't just assume that these people aren't actually trying to... Like, ISIS is actually trying to bring about the end of the West. Like, that's what they want. And so, you're just going to let people back in without any, interview process or anything? Or, just...
I definitely feel like... I think I was telling you the other day about, the Rick and Shane thing of The Walking Dead. How you need a happy medium between both of them. In the earlier seasons, before Rick actually turned fucking badass.
Yeah.
But, he was just always making the good decisions, and then his old cop partner was always just he knew when to fucking say, no, fuck you. That's how it is. You need to be able to know that, and just, I don't know, if you're running a country especially, I know there's a lot of Canadians who are like, fuck that, I don't want ISIS people who, especially, think of a mother who their son just fucking died from an IED, and then she looks on the internet and sees that we're integrating ISIS fighters into Canada, and she fucking just has a heart attack,
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, some real background screening, you gotta, depending, was this just a kid fucking, had a wrong mindset, and, I think Duncan was saying that the other day, and just, about how, the developing mind is easy to fucking change.
Yeah.
You can make somebody think something pretty easy, and I agree with that for sure. But, I also feel like when I was 16 years old, I was living on my own. I fucking had my own apartment. I was working. I fucking did my own thing. I was smart enough, you know what I mean? And nothing really pushed me towards hating my country and wanting to go
to the point of
ISIS.
going to... I went through a big phase personally where I was just down with capitalism, down with money, down with because I was a hippie kid who started doing mushrooms.
It's easy to do.
Well, yeah, it's easy to be spiteful about the situation you're in and just look to demonize whatever happens to be around you that you could potentially point the finger at.
Yeah.
But eventually I changed my attitude and was like, no, you know what? I'm going to fucking play this game better than anyone else, and that's what I'm going to try and do. And just, go to my job and make that money and work my ass off and get those raises and just, beat them at their game.
Play
by their rules. What am I going to do? Come up with a better game?
I work 3 jobs right now. I fucking full-time roof. I get off roofing, and usually maybe once or twice a week I go do fucking demolition at Fenwick Towers and asbestos removal.
Oh yeah, dude! I'm happy to hear that.
And then I'm also. Oh really?
No, I didn't I'm guessing they just recently realized they had asbestos.
And then I'm also in the military. I'm fucking all about that grind, man. I put 100% into everything, and I'm sure. I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm sure you've seen it that my work ethic is definitely I don't know. I like to work hard and.
Well, it gives you a certain sense of, for me, when I took on the new philosophy about it for myself, it's just everything got easier.
Yeah.
And I just stopped pushing against the whole, what am I going to do? Push against the whole culture the whole time? It's why don't I try and, live by the rules that these people are set out for me? Like, play the game by these rules. And it's like Jocko Willink always says, discipline equals freedom. Yep. You gotta get in that grind and just embrace it and just get after it, you know?
Yeah, it's like this country
pays off. It actually works. It actually does pay off.
We're not in this position right now without fucking people before us doing exactly what you just said.
Dude, you talked to me that story about your grandfather, was it?
Yeah, my grandfather was a coal miner when he was 10 years old. Nobody in Cape Breton would take him in the military when World War II started. Yeah. He was 17 years old when World War II started. Nobody in Cape Breton would take him in because they knew he was too young.
Did you have to be 18 or 19?
18.
Okay.
So he fucking hopped on a train and went to Ottawa, and he joined the Princess Louise Dragoon Guards, and fucking flew off to Germany, the fucking wherever that next day, like, started training and fucked off, like, yeah, he was a hard-working man, for sure. 10 years old in the coal mines, like.
Man, that's what you're right when you say that's what this culture is built on. It's like, well, so you know that documentary that Michael Moore put out recently called, or I think it was a couple years ago, it was Where to Invade Next.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a great documentary. And I think that there is definitely some important things to take from it. And but I remember this one, this couple from Italy, they talked about how much they loved America and had plans to move there someday.
In the documentary?
Yeah. And so they got done talking about in Italy how they just got like 8 weeks vacation a year, and you get more when you have a baby or whatever.
Paid vacation, yeah.
Yeah, and then like all just the other random holidays and stuff that they take culturally. And it's like, I can't remember what the total amount of time off work was, but it was a number of months each year that you get off. And then they talked about moving to America. Michael Moore said, are you aware that you would be damn fucking lucky to get 2 weeks vacation off paid? I mean, it's likely to not be paid. Yep. And then their jaws hit the floor. They were stunned.
I know. I was watching the one guy, I think he was from Italy, and like, this guy was a police officer in Italy. And this Michael Moore was telling him how it was in America, and this guy's mouth was open. He was just shocked the whole time. He couldn't fucking say a word. He was like, literally mind boggled. Like, he was like, what? Like, this is a thing? And also his thing was he loves America, and they were planning on moving to America eventually. And this guy who they're doing this interview with, like, he's telling them this. He's like, yeah, I want to move to America, this and that. And then he hears what Michael Moore has to say, and he's just like, literally, like, heartbroken, fucking shocked. Like, you can see it in his face. He's like, what? He's like, he's not understanding. He's like, no. He's like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, his dream got shattered before
literally,
his eyes.
yeah.
But, so I guess back to my point about hard work, it's like, I'm not saying that, like, I think it would be great if everyone could get some more time off work paid. I think that would do a lot just to kind of get away from that eating away the hole in people's souls that modern folks seem to have. Yep. I mean, this has been the case for a long time. Like, Jung wrote that book, something like Modern Man in Search of a Soul. So people have had that void, it seems, culturally for a bit, at the very least. But yeah, so I think it's a good thing to do that. But I also feel like, you know, that grind, that hard work, that pace and that momentum, that's like who we are. That's how we survived. And that's like, because like, who made this country? It's people who came over here in boats, like, and fucking crammed in the bottom of ships and shitting in buckets and getting scurvy and just like surviving through winter here. And like, tough motherfuckers.
It's like, yeah, it's like what we call struggle is not fucking
oh my god, it would be a nightmare.
Like,
it's insanity. And so I'm thinking maybe my philosophy until, you know, it changes is the situation, the cultural situation changes, is to embrace the grind. And I have faith, and I'm gonna try and make it like a little experiment with my life that, like, if I actually can work harder than everyone else, at least try to, then, well, we'll see where I wind up in a number of years. Maybe I will have more time off. Because it's definitely, like, the statistics that Michael Moore was giving was definitely just for the average citizen. Sure, definitely more people I'm sure Joe Rogan doesn't feel like he needs to take any time off from what he does, like, except for once in a while. I'm sure, like, it'd be great, but it's like, discipline equals freedom, you know?
Yeah.
I don't mean to hijack Jocko Willick's fucking sick catchphrase. Come up with a different one, but what he says is true.
Yeah, definitely. I think of especially the military and roofing, and I guess demolition too. It's like I literally get paid to stay healthy. I'm not kind of like comparing it to like, oh, I'm working these hours like this fucking sucks. It's like shit. I just spent fucking 8 hours on the roof. I lifted some shit, I put some shit down and picked it back up and did this and that. And
that's how a roof gets done, folks. You just
especially with a flat
shit
roof,
up
and like we get fucking paid lunch and shit like that usually. Like that's fucking Gucci. And yeah, literally all 3 of the jobs that I work, I'm getting paid to stay active and like be
on top
be
of it,
working. Yeah. The human body is meant for that.
Yeah, you're meant to
like
move.
Our primal fucking ancestors think they were able to sit on the couch and talk about shit and smoke weed and drink a beer. No, they they were on the go 24/7. Like yeah, they slept, but they're awake. It's like they're fucking putting in work.
Yeah, man.
And
it was that or die. It was
and that's what our body is literally fucking made for. Like
that's what
people
gets me,
who say who's just like, oh, I can't fucking do this, I can't do that. It's like, shut up, man. We're fucking built to do this and do that. Like,
I just don't enjoy or want to entertain any like self-limiting thoughts of the kind. You know?
Yeah,
I just want to not believe any of that because I don't see. Even if it is true, fuck it. Like it may as well not be, and it doesn't seem to be. Really, the more I push myself, the more I can do.
Yeah.
That's what my experience tells me.
You know my neighbor, the quadriplegic.
Yeah,
She's
so
great.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Quadriplegic. She can't move her legs.
Oh yeah, I had her back
and
and her
she can
arms.
barely move her arms. Mm-hmm. Like it's like semi quadriplegic, but like anyway. But she can paint.
Whoa,
she's a great artist.
Nice.
She can paint a mean picture.
What's one of those things that's great about
it's crazy to watch her do it too because she'll literally she's got these like special like handles on her brushes and stuff. Just pick them up and go to work.
There you go.
That's
awesome. One thing that's good about this culture being like so comfy is that ideally it would result in the ability to sit back and create more art and everything.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, I wonder
most
if
people
somebody
seem to be doing nothing with it.
I wonder if this quadriplegic, the fact that they're like kind of stuck and aren't really able to use their hands and not able to fucking do things that we can. I wonder if that makes them almost more artistic. Like,
just the
I gotta imagine,
right?
And you were talking about your
actually.
sister's a fucking awesome piano player, like,
yeah.
or if because she's blind and like, obviously that's a known fact that your other senses are heightened, but like, does that just make somebody more artistic? Like,
I don't know. I think they're artists. It's like you can't take anything out of the equation about who they are. It's like
imagine not barely being able to use your hands, and you look at a painter and you're like, shit. You can think about that and fucking think about that, and like,
and just even thinking about just wow, my body sure does work fine. I don't have to go around in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Anything.
Like,
and how infrequently I'm actually consciously grateful for that fact, I think is definitely not satisfactory. I think I need to remind myself more. I think about that when I'm on a run too. Because I was running the other day and I was just like sprinting up this hill and I ran past this Asian woman, and for whatever reason the next thought that popped in my head after seeing her was just those crazy, how insane Tokyo and Hong Kong have gotten with smog and pollution and everything. Like, you can't just even be outside without a mask on your face, and forget it running. And I was just like taking in those deep breaths of the clean, fresh air, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I have clean, fresh air to breathe." and then just the fact that I was running, I was like, "Man, my legs, I still have them, and they still work." And it's not that the odds are that I would have lost them. It's just the sheer possibility alone is enough reason for a little pause, like,
or at least trying to use them.
At least he is. Yeah, and that's why I try. One of my motivations when I'm feeling lazy and not wanting to do any of those things, it's like I don't want to lift weights or go for a run. It's like, okay, well, what if I actually like lose my arm tomorrow or something, and I didn't like milk it for everything I had. You know,
my buddy fucking made